So this is going to be one of those strange videos where each of the fans of the teams that we are talking about are going to probably have a lot to say about the players we're speaking of. But the reason we are talking about these two guys is because there actually is a little bit more of a link than you might anticipate. This involves the Philadelphia Flyers, this involves the Anaheim Ducks. Today, what I wanted to do was talk about some of the most surprising rookies in the preseason so far. So, without further ado, let's head over to the Philadelphia Flyers and talk about a guy who has surprised everybody. In fact, he has been surprising everybody since the 2024 NHL Draft. Today, we're talking about a guy who was drafted in the 13th overall spot in this most recent draft, above guys like Adam Jiricek, Konsta Helenius, Michael Brandsted-Newgard, Cole Yzerman. Today, we are talking about Jett Luchanko. Because he's a guy that if you take a look at the 2024 draft projections, some folks, like Elite Prospects, had this guy as a 34th overall pick. ISS had him at 18, so did Craig Button. McKenzie had him at 19, McKean's at 21, NHL Central Scouting had him as the 20th ranked North American skater, and Future Considerations had him at number 32. This is a guy who, playing for the Guelph Storm last year, had 74 points in 68 games played, and he's only 5'11", 187 as a right-handed center. This is a guy who was born on August 2006, making him one of the youngest players in the entire 2024 draft. And it's just been brought to our attention that based off of Luchanko's play in the preseason, it seems like the Philadelphia Flyers are really interested in bringing this guy over full-time. Take a look at what Larry Malott went out there and said on Twitter. He's the Guelph Storm radio play-by-play guy, which is, of course, very notable here because Guelph is the team that Luchanko played for in the OHL last year. It's not official yet, but stories out of Philadelphia from various sources seem to think that Jett Luchanko will start the NHL season with the Flyers as a center on their third line. Final cuts should be made over the weekend. Now you may be thinking, what's going on here? Why is this guy being so highly touted? Well, let's go to Hattie K's Twitter account because what they did was they tweeted out this excerpt from the recent Elite Prospects Guide on Luchanko. The Flyers surprised quite a few by selecting him 13th overall in the draft, but it's hard to fault them when you watch his play during this preseason. The young center turned 18 less than 2 months ago, and yet easily possesses the most mature game of any player his age across all the preseason camps. Showcasing NHL-level speed, awareness, processing, decision-making, positional sense, defensive acumen, work rate, and physicality, Luchanko is quickly making himself a candidate for an early NHL stint and earning favor with head coach John Tortorella. His main setback is that he lacks a true high-end offensive tool to make a cornerstone of his game. That's what kept him out of most top 20 lists, including ours. However, his smarts make for a solid distribution game, and he doesn't cut a single corner. That might just be enough for John Tortorella to give him a 9-game trial in Philly's bottom 6 this upcoming season. And so obviously the intent of Hattie to post this excerpt about Luchanko on Twitter is to say, hey, this guy is doing very well, and he is surprising everybody. He's super young, and he was taken 13th overall. He might actually get a chance to play this season. Why is that surprising? No, it's not surprising. Just kidding, because we actually did say in our write-up that he was maybe that good. Sneakily that good. And in fact, this was expanded upon even further by Byron Bader, who went out there and made this post on Twitter shortly after. It might only be a 9-game or less tryout for Jett Luchanko, but it certainly seems like he's going to start the season with the Flyers, and that's pretty incredible. It is extremely rare for younger forwards born well into the summer that profile like this at the draft to make the NHL right away after being drafted. It's only happened 6 times where the player stuck the entire season, and not just the 9 games, in the past 34 years. What makes this one even more interesting is that Luchanko is pretty small. The only ones listed at 5'11 or below to start the NHL had 99th percentile production in their draft year. Luchanko's production was good, but not quite at that level. If he hangs past the 9 games for 24-25, he'll certainly be a pretty unique historical case. And the 2 comparables that are listed here for Jett Luchanko are Jordan Staal, when he made his debut with the Pittsburgh Penguins back in 2005, and Patrice Bergeron. So, yeah, that's a lot to take in, isn't it? Take a look at one of the replies over here. The kid can seriously play. His model is way off. In my opinion, he's going to be a top 6 guy for the Flyers. And the crazy part is, I think a lot of Philly is taken aback by the production and the success that we're seeing out of Matvei Michkov, but Jett Luchanko is right up there too. He's not in the same age range, he's of course a year younger, but the fact that he was an August 2006 birthday who was drafted in 2024 makes him one of the youngest guys of the draft, one of the youngest players to be eligible to play for the NHL this season, and the fact that he's looking good enough to start the season on the 3rd line in Philly as a center, that's big. Really, really big. And this goes hand in hand with the other conversation that I wanted to bring up in this video too. Let's talk about the guy that Philadelphia fans are seething through their mouths to forget about. He's all the way on the other side of the country in Anaheim. I wanted to go over Cutter Gauthier, because this guy has also had himself a pretty good preseason and a lot of hype from Anaheim Ducks fans. Cutter Gauthier might be notable from most because of the snipe that he had scored the other day on a beautiful cross-crease pass in the preseason. He's played pretty well, I'd say. He's got 2 goals in the 3 games he has suited up for with the Anaheim Ducks, and his role is more than guaranteed heading into the 24-25 season. In fact, if you go over to Daily Faceoff, they have him penciled in as their second-line left winger, alongside of Leo Carlsson and Alex Killorn, right behind Zagreus McTavish and Troy Terry. Cutter Gauthier is also listed on the first power play unit alongside of Zagreus Fowler, Carlsson, and Terry, which is going to be a really great treat to watch for fans in the SoCal area. Of course, the reason we're bringing up Cutter Gauthier in this video is because the former Philadelphia Flyers draftee and prospect was a guy that a lot of Flyers fans were super excited to see play for their team this upcoming year, up until all the controversy came out about him not wanting to be a Philadelphia Flyer. So thinking about what's been going on with this dude, I mean, now he's got this new home, he's playing with the Anaheim Ducks, he's looking pretty good with the Anaheim Ducks, and I think Cutter Gauthier could very well be seen as one of these underrated, low-key challengers that could be there in Calder conversation as the year goes on. You've got Matvei Michkov in Philly, you've got Lane Hudson, you've got Macklin Celebrini, and Cutter Gauthier, I think, is barely on the outside looking in. He scored the shootout winner in a game against the San Jose Sharks earlier yesterday, and just the dangles, the hands that he puts on display, oh man, he is nasty. How he's able to get goalies off of their groove and open up their legs, spread them wide, before using his shaft to shove it in right through there, yeah, it's really great. And I think Cutter Gauthier with that kind of dangling ability, it's one of the more underrated parts about his game that I didn't really see translating to the NHL right away. Like, he's got hands. The guy can really move with the puck and get around people. So, taking a look at his goal-scoring capabilities alongside of Leo Carlsson, who's going to be setting him up for most of the year, this is going to be one of these guys that could very well end off the season with 20, maybe 25, or even 30 goals if he's very lucky. 20 goals, I'd think, would be a really great rookie season for what Cutter Gauthier could bring. But then again, you know, he's top 6 left wing, he's top unit on the power play. If he gets 25 goals, maybe that's the standard. Who really knows? A lot of guys in Anaheim could get points this upcoming season. Maybe they're still going to be bad, they're probably still going to get another high draft pick this year, but Cutter Gauthier certainly helps out and could be one of these underrated Calder dudes. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about these 2 surprising rookies from Orange teams. Philadelphia's got Jett Luchanko, who's gone out there and impressed tremendously in this preseason. He might make the NHL right away at only 18 and 2 months old. That would be crazy. He's younger, way younger, by the way, than Macklin Celebrini, who was taken a few picks before him in the draft. If you're a Flyers fan, how do you feel about Luchanko and the way he has progressed in your system so far ever since being drafted by your squad? Do you regret the pick? Do you think you should have gone with somebody else? Is Luchanko looking to be an early steal from 2024's draft despite being ranked in the 30s by some scouting outlets? If you're a Ducks fan, what are your thoughts on Cutter Gauthier and the way he has progressed and played so far in the preseason? And what are your expectations for him heading into the regular season as he suits up on your top 6 and on your top power play unit? Thoughts in the comment section below about both of these guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.